All right, today we're diving into the world of a true biological marvel. I mean, an animal that's just perfectly engineered for explosive power and, honestly, breathtaking grace. Of course, we're talking about the cheetah, nature's ultimate sprinter. But, to really get a feel for this animal, we have to start with its most famous trait, right? So let me ask you this. What do you think it actually looks like or feels like to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds? Well, for the fastest land animal on Earth, it's just a blur of focused power. It's a total explosion of muscle and bone, all working in perfect harmony. So let's break down exactly how this incredible athlete pulls it off. Okay, so before we really get into the nitty-gritty of that speed, it's super important to know exactly which cat we're talking about here. Because let's be honest, it gets mixed up with another big cat all the time. And this really shows you what we're talking about. See, on the left, you've got the cheetah. Everything about it is built for one thing, speed. You got that slim, lightweight build, the solid black spots, and of course those famous black tear marks running down from its eyes. Now look to the right, that's the leopard. It's all about power. A much more robust, muscular build, right? It's for climbing trees, taking on bigger prey, and its spots are totally different. They're rosette-shaped. So yeah, two very different cats built for two completely different jobs. So the big question is, how did the cheetah become this absolute speed machine? Well, it's all in the design. Let's take a look under the hood, so to speak, at the anatomy of acceleration. Yeah, you can think of this as the cheetah's sprinter's toolkit. It's not just one single thing that makes it so ridiculously fast. Nope. It's a whole collection of features all working together. We're talking everything from its spine to its claws. Every single part is fine-tuned for the chase. Let's zoom in on a couple of these. Okay, this right here, this is the cheetah's secret weapon. The spine is so incredibly flexible, it acts like a spring. It coils up and then just explodes, uncoiling with every single stride to maximize its reach and power. It's just incredible. All right, so if the spine is the engine, then the tail is definitely the steering wheel. That long, muscular tail acts like a rudder, a counterbalance. When it's in a high-speed chase, making these unbelievably sharp turns, the tail is what keeps it stable. It's the reason it can stick to its prey like glue, no matter how much they twist and turn. Here's something else that's really unique about cheetahs. You know how most cats can pull their claws all the way in to keep them sharp? Well, cheetahs can't. Their claws are only semi-retractable, and there's a good reason for that. They're always out, acting just like the spikes on a sprinter's shoes, digging into the ground to get that incredible traction for those explosive takeoffs. So you put all that amazing engineering together, and what do you get? You get a single stride that covers a whopping 7 meters. That's 23 feet. I mean, think about that. That's longer than a lot of cars. And get this, during that one stride, the cheetah is completely off the ground. Airborne, not once, but twice. It's just a phenomenal display of power. Okay, so you've got this incredible sprinter, right? But all these adaptations, they're tailor-made for a very specific kind of place. So let's take a look at where the cheetah lives and hunts. Its life out on the plains. So the cheetah's arena is the open grasslands and savannas. And it makes perfect sense, right? Its main weapon is speed. And to use that speed, you need space. You need a long, clear runway. A dense forest? That would totally cancel out its biggest advantage. Now, this specialization is what makes it such an amazing hunter. But as we're going to see, it's also a huge part of what makes it so vulnerable. And this table, this really lays out the cheetah's tricky position in its world. On one hand, it's an incredible hunter of fast animals like gazelles and impalas. But on the other hand, it's not at the top of the food chain. See, it's built for speed, not a brawl. So very often a cheetah will make a kill only to have it stolen by a bigger, stronger predator like a lion or a hyena. It's a tough life. So here's another thing that sets the cheetah apart. Most big cats hunt at night, right? Well, the cheetah is a diurnal hunter. It hunts during the day, usually in the early morning or late afternoon. And this is a really clever strategy to avoid running into those lions and hyenas. It relies on its amazing eyesight, and those tear marks we mentioned, they're thought to work like sunglasses, cutting the sun's glare. Pretty smart. But, for all of its incredible speed and skill, the cheetah's story is, well, it's turning into a tragedy. That very specialized nature that makes it so amazing is also what makes it incredibly vulnerable in our modern, fast-changing world.
Fewer than 7,100. That number it's just devastating. To think that around the year 1900, there were about 100,000 cheetahs. And now this? The fastest animal on land is in a race that it's in real danger of losing.
And this timeline just drives that point home. We're not talking about ancient history. In about 100 years, they've been wiped out from 91% of the land they used to call home. Today, they occupy just 9% of their original range. They're literally being squeezed out of existence.
So why is this happening? Well, this chart breaks it down pretty clearly. The biggest piece of the pie, a full 50%, is habitat loss. Those wide open spaces they need to survive, they're disappearing. And that leads directly to the next biggest problem, human-wildlife conflict. And of course, you still have the constant pressure from poaching and the illegal pet trade. And this quote, this really hits the nail on the head. A leopard? It's adaptable. It can kind of live on the edges of our world. But the cheetah? It's a specialist. It needs that open space. It can't hunt in a world that's been chopped up into farms and towns. The very thing that makes it so magnificent, its specialization for speed, is also what makes it so fragile.
So we've looked at its biology, how it lives, and the dangers it's facing. What are the key takeaways here? Let's do a quick recap of what makes the cheetah the cheetah.
Okay, let's boil it down to 5 core things. 1, it is, without a doubt, the fastest land animal, period. 2, it's built for speed, not for strength. That lightweight body is a trade-off for pure fighting power. 3, those distinctive markings aren't just for show, they're functional. 4, it's a daytime hunter, which is a smart move to stay out of trouble. And number 5, and this is the most important one to remember, it's a vulnerable specialist. It absolutely depends on those open spaces, and that makes its future very, very uncertain.
And that brings us to the final, really powerful thought here. The cheetah was perfected by millions of years of evolution to win any chase. But now, it's in a race it was never designed for, the race against extinction. It was built for the savanna, not for a world carved up by us. So the real question, the one we're left with, is this: can we help it cross that finish line?